There is a number sitting quietly behind Alex Eala's Cincinnati debut, and it has almost nothing to do with the $185,220 champions check waiting at the end of the draw. It is not the trophy, not the prize money, and not even the 1,000 ranking points that come with winning a WTA 1000. The number is 16. And if Alex Eala can get herself inside that number before the US Open begins, the entire shape of her next Grand Slam could change. That is what makes this Cincinnati Open so strange, because Eala is entering a tournament she has never actually played in, arriving at just 21 years old as the world number 20 and the number 17 seed, carrying the best form of her career into one of the toughest fields of the season. She was supposed to play Cincinnati last year, but a shoulder injury took that opportunity away. Now she is finally here, and because she missed the tournament last season, she has something almost every other top player in the draw does not have this week: nothing to defend. 0 ranking points. That means every match she wins is pure addition. There is no old result waiting to disappear from her ranking total. No points debt hanging over her head. For the players around her, Cincinnati can be a fight simply to stay where they are. For Eala, every victory can push her higher. It is almost like everyone else is running up a down escalator while she has been handed a staircase. And that difference could become enormous when the US Open arrives. Look at what Eala has already done over the past few weeks. She won the Mubadala DC Open in Washington, becoming the first Filipino woman to win a WTA Tour singles title. And she did it by surviving an extraordinary run against elite opposition. She then traveled to Toronto and reached the 4th round of another WTA 1000. Those results sent her ranking soaring from a career-high number 28 to number 20 in roughly a week. And now she arrives in Cincinnati with the highest seeding of her career at this level. She is number 17 because several players ahead of her withdrew, opening the door for a first-round bye. That bye matters more than it might seem. Instead of immediately playing in the opening round, Eala begins directly in the round of 64, giving her additional recovery time during one of the most physically demanding stretches of her season. But then you look at the draw, and the story becomes much more complicated. Her first opponent is Elena Gabriela Ruse, a player she has never beaten. Their only previous meeting came in the 2024 US Open qualifying rounds, when Eala won the first set but eventually lost the match in 3 sets. On paper, the ranking gap looks enormous. Eala is number 20 while Ruse sits much lower. But rankings do not hit forehands, and past matchups do not disappear simply because one player has climbed higher. Ruse knows she can hurt Eala, and that makes the opening match far more dangerous than the seed numbers suggest. If Eala survives that test, the road gets dramatically harder. Amanda Anisimova could be waiting in the next round, a former Grand Slam finalist, and one of the cleanest ball strikers on the tour. That would be a matchup with no previous WTA history between them, meaning Eala would have to solve Anisimova without any personal experience of how that matchup behaves under pressure. Then comes the name that should immediately get Eala's attention: Linda Noskova. The two have already met twice this season, and Eala lost both encounters. One was especially brutal, with Noskova taking the first set 6-2 before completely shutting the door in the second, winning it 6-0. Their second meeting in Berlin was closer, but Noskova still won 6-2, 6-4. So if Eala reaches that stage, she is not facing a theoretical problem. She is facing a player who has already demonstrated that her style can cause serious damage. Beyond that sits Jessica Pegula, with Elena Rybakina or Iga Swiatek projected further down the road, while Aryna Sabalenka and Coco Gauff remain possible names at the business end of the tournament. On paper, it looks almost absurd. A debut tournament, a brutal section, and some of the biggest names in women's tennis potentially standing between Eala and the trophy. But there is another side to this story, and it may be more important than the draw itself. Eala has already shown that she can survive this kind of environment. In Washington, she defeated multiple seeded players on the way to the title, including elite opponents who were supposed to be the barriers stopping her run. She did not simply beat one star and get lucky. She kept winning. Then in Toronto, she continued that momentum, reaching the 4th round while carrying the physical cost of a remarkable schedule. At one point, she had played 8 matches in 7 days between Washington and Toronto. 8 matches, 7 days. That is an extraordinary workload for any professional athlete, especially one who had just won the biggest title of her career. She even rolled her ankle during her Toronto run and still managed to continue. Then came Belinda Bencic, and suddenly the body appeared to reach its limit. Eala lost 6-4, 6-0 in just 73 minutes, struggling to generate the same intensity that had carried her through the previous weeks. The second set was especially stark because she did not win a single game. To some observers, it looked like the beginning of burnout. But there is another interpretation. Maybe that loss was exactly what her body needed. Maybe the Cincinnati tournament is not about proving she can win 6 matches. Maybe it is about giving her one more opportunity to add points without risking anything she has already earned. That is where the number 16 becomes so important. At a Grand Slam, the top 16 seeds receive significant draw protection. A player inside that group cannot face another top 16 seed before the 4th round. Eala is currently sitting at number 20. If she remains outside the top 16, she could potentially meet one of those elite seeds much earlier. But if Cincinnati gives her enough ranking points to break into that protected group before New York, the entire structure of her US Open draw changes. Suddenly, the tournament becomes less about surviving a dangerous 3rd-round matchup and more about getting herself into the 4th round before having to face one of the very best players in the world. That is the real prize sitting behind Cincinnati, not the $185,220, not even the trophy. It is positioning. It is opportunity. It is giving herself a better chance to turn her US Open into another historic chapter. And the strange part is that Eala does not necessarily need to win Cincinnati to achieve it. She does not need to defeat every player in this brutal section. She simply needs enough victories to keep climbing while the players above her defend their own points. That makes this week almost unique on her calendar. There is no downside in the ranking system from defending 0 points. A loss means she does not add. A win means she climbs. That is the asymmetric opportunity sitting in front of her. But there is an even stranger possibility. What if losing early is not actually a disaster? What if an early exit could be the smartest outcome for her body? Think about the timing. The US Open is just around the corner. Eala has already played an enormous number of matches. She has traveled from Washington to Toronto and now to Cincinnati. She has dealt with the physical consequences of that schedule, including an ankle issue. She has already demonstrated that she can beat top players. What she cannot manufacture is time. Time to recover, time to train, time to reset mentally, time to arrive in New York with fresh legs. If she loses early in Cincinnati, she could potentially gain exactly that. Instead of spending another week fighting through 3, 4, or 5 matches, she could spend the remaining days preparing specifically for the US Open. That creates a bizarre situation where both outcomes can benefit her. A deep run gives her ranking points and potentially pushes her toward the top 16. An early exit gives her recovery and preparation time before the Grand Slam. In other words, Cincinnati could become a rare tournament where there is almost no truly disastrous outcome. And that is why calling it simply a tough draw misses the bigger story. The real question is not whether Eala can beat Noskova, Pegula, Rybakina, Swiatek, Sabalenka, or Goff. The real question is how aggressively should she chase this opportunity? Should she push her body for ranking points? Or should she protect herself for the tournament that matters even more? That is the decision, sitting behind every match. And Eala herself has already shown signs that she understands the importance of managing the situation. After Toronto, she took time away from tennis, spending time with friends and doing things completely unrelated to competition. She has spoken about staying healthy and learning from the demanding weeks she has just experienced. That matters because there is a difference between being tired and being broken down. The Cincinnati draw may look terrifying from the outside, but Eala has already proven that she belongs in these conversations. She beat top-ranked opposition in Washington. She defeated players with Grand Slam experience. She handled pressure in front of enormous Filipino crowds. And that brings us to the other asset that does not appear on any ranking table: her audience. Something has changed around Alex Eala this summer. She is no longer simply a talented young player trying to climb the rankings. She has become an attraction. In Washington, Filipino fans filled the stands and made the atmosphere feel almost like a home tournament. In Toronto, the support followed her again. Filipino flags appeared throughout the stadium. Fans traveled to watch her, and the atmosphere around her matches became part of the story itself. Her popularity is beginning to create something that results alone cannot fully explain. Tournaments want her there. Fans want to see her. Organizers are recognizing her. And that means Eala's value is becoming larger than her win-loss record. Normally, tennis players have to keep winning to remain relevant. Results create attention, attention creates opportunities, and opportunities disappear when the results stop. Eala may be entering a different phase where the audience itself becomes an asset. Even when she lost badly to Bensic in Toronto, the interest did not disappear. The Filipino flags did not disappear. The fans did not suddenly stop caring. That is rare. It means her career is developing on two tracks at once: the competitive track and the commercial track. On the court, she is chasing ranking points, titles, Grand Slam runs, and eventually the biggest trophies in tennis. Off the court, she is building a fan base that can follow her from Washington to Toronto to Cincinnati and eventually New York. That combination could become enormously important for the future of women's tennis. And that is why Cincinnati matters beyond one tournament. If Eala can turn this ranking opportunity into a top 16 seed at the US Open, she could arrive in New York with a significantly more favorable draw structure. Remember where her story began. Eala won the US Open Girls Singles title in 2022. That tournament helped announce her name to the world. Now, just a few years later, she could return to Flushing Meadows as a WTA champion, a top 20 player, and potentially a top 16 Grand Slam seed. That is not just progression, that is a full circle moment. And perhaps the most fascinating part is that Cincinnati was never supposed to be this important. Last year, Eala was supposed to be here, but a shoulder injury kept her out. She lost the opportunity without knowing what it would eventually become. Now, that absence has created the exact situation she needs. 0 points to defend. Every win is upside. A first round bye gives her extra rest. A few victories could move her closer to the top 16. And even an early loss could give her valuable recovery time before the US Open. That is why the $185,220 check is almost a distraction. Yes, winning Cincinnati would be the biggest financial prize of the week. Yes, 1,000 ranking points would be enormous. Yes, lifting a WTA 1,000 trophy would take Eala's career to another level. But the real prize is what happens afterward. It is the possibility of arriving in New York with a protected draw and a body that has finally had time to recover. It is the possibility of turning one historic summer into an even bigger Grand Slam story. And there is one final twist. The players standing in Eala's way are not imaginary giants anymore. They are names she has already challenged, beaten, or stood across the net from. Rybakina and other elite players are no longer distant figures on a television screen. Eala has already proven she can beat players at that level. Washington proved that she can survive a brutal sequence of matches. Toronto proved that her popularity can travel with her. Cincinnati now gives her something different. A low-risk opportunity to improve her ranking at exactly the moment when every position could matter at the US Open. So forget the trophy for a moment. Forget the money. Forget the headlines. Watch the number 16, because that is the number that could quietly determine how dangerous Alex Eala becomes in New York. She does not need to win Cincinnati. She does not even need to reach the final. She needs to make the most intelligent decision possible with the opportunity she has been given. Push when the upside is worth it. Rest when the body demands it. Take the ranking points when they are there. Protect the bigger objective when necessary. That is what makes this week so fascinating. For most players, Cincinnati is another tournament. For Alex Eala, it may be the bridge between a historic summer and a completely different level of expectation at the US Open. And when she walks onto that Cincinnati court for the first time, the question will not simply be whether a 21-year-old Filipino can survive one of the toughest draws in tennis. The real question will be whether she can recognize what is actually being offered to her. Because sometimes the biggest opportunities do not look like trophies. Sometimes they look like one number on a ranking list. And for Alex Eala, that number is 16.